What's going on? This is Cake Builder from Winout.net. Today we're going to be doing a pro playbook for SK. We're going to be looking at a match they had against Isahara on Nuke during SEC of this year. So let's jump right into this. Alright, so the CT pistol round here from SK. I'm pretty sure that they ran the same strat against FX at this tournament. I don't remember if it worked out for them or not. But basically what they do is they have Get Right and Robin walk in through Mini, and they're each going to throw a nade through the hut window, and they're going to land as close to radio as possible. Now the whole point of these nades is to help Forrest try to get some frags when he pushes up ramp. That's what Forrest's role is in this round. The initial part of this strat is for Forrest to push up, clear radio, and to get a better idea of what's happening in lobby, or to just get a frag or two. So because those two nades landed near radio, Forrest would have a much more easy time trying to frag anyone that was around that area representing Isahara on T. And he's actually able to get a pick here in radio. Now he can do one of two things here. One thing that most people would do is they'd probably fall back after getting that pick, knowing they're up in numbers, knowing how big of a tournament it is, etc. But instead of falling back and giving Isahara more room to walk around and to work their own strats, SK decides to push up and keep their momentum going as they start to clear lobby by pinching it. Forrest is already so far up radio that all they really need to do is get a guy or two in the hut, and then they can almost clear out lobby completely. So it was a really great setup for a really important pick, and this gives SK a lot of room to breathe, and it cuts off a lot of breathing room for Isahara. And as you can see, SK was heavily rewarded for not giving Isahara any more room to breathe. By pushing these cutoff points in lobby, SK is completely fucked over Isahara. You see the T's are just kind of lost now that they've lost so much room in lobby. They're already down 2 players. So it was a really great idea to not just fall back after getting that pick by Forrest, and to actually push up even further and to clear out more, but to do so as a team. So their T-pistol round is also kind of based on Forrest getting a pick. He armors up and he gets a deagle drop to him, and he's just going to go ahead and try to pick down the ramp and get a frag, which unfortunately does not work out for him at all. He actually gets gushed to 24 health as he's trying to run away. And also, which was unfortunate to him, a player had naded in from mini garage into lobby just as SK did on their CT round, but for a different reason. So the strat's already kind of thrown off a little bit. Get Right is just a boss, and he's able to get a frag and ramp and then get another frag towards hut later in the round. It just goes to show how a strat like this can't always be successful. You could have the best player in the world, but if he doesn't get a pick or if he gets gushed randomly, then your strat's kind of over. So having a more defined strat instead of just playing an open-ended kind of strat based off of really praying that you get a pick, it might not be the best way to run your T-side pistol, especially on a map like Nuke. It's worth trusting a player like Forrest with this kind of a role too, but it just doesn't always work out the way that you want it to. But they did the best that they could with this one. In this round, Sixer gets picked early outside. He was just pushing up, kind of being dumb. I think he was just trying to make a play for his team, but just wasn't able to do so. So already there's only 4 guys on CT. And the only thing that Isahara can really think about right now is where they're going to put each player to try to defend everything. And you can only do that by trying to judge where SK is going to go. So they only have Major playing in ramp room, but he has a quick rotator ready to go at top ladder. Once Major sees a flash coming in from the radio room area, he calls for his rotate, and the ladder guy comes down immediately. But this happens at the same exact time that Robin decides to walk out of hut, knowing that an upper guy has 2 different reasons why he might want to rotate out of that site, because 1, 6 already died at outside, so there's incentive to cover that area of the map. And 2, Major just saw a flash coming in from lobby towards ramp, so he's not really sure if he's going to need help or not. So there's a lot of motivation for Isahara to rotate a guy out of upper, which Robin knows and he capitalizes on perfectly by just walking right out of the hut and getting 2 easy frags. So from an offensive mindset, you want to kind of try to feel out where the defensive players are playing and what options they have given the amount of players they have still alive in the round. You might be able to more easily fake a side of the map that has less defense because the one person playing that spot or the one person playing a nearby spot that hears your fake might get tricked into calling for extra players to help out to cover that area. So we've seen a couple of different types of strats. Mostly what we see from SK is the more open-ended kind of strat that's based off of getting a pick. Now you don't have to always expose yourself to try to get these kind of picks, as we see in a round like this, where they put a bunch of dudes on T-roof and they just spam the shit out of upper. This is a great way to open up some options for your team early in the round, but I just wouldn't suggest doing this all the time, and I wouldn't suggest having this be your main way of getting picks. So there are a couple different spams coming in. Get Right and Robin are kind of doing the same spam in the 2 different areas that you can spam it. I'll talk about that in a second. We see Forrest go up the ladder and try to do a really close rafter spam, but there's no one there and he doesn't get any hits. see Face doing a really popular spam. I've seen this a lot, and I've seen it do a lot of damage. All you do is you stand next to the vent and you align where the metal and the wall meet, and it spams just next to the bomb box on floor. And Robin and Get Right are doing your basic rafter top ladder spam. There are basically two parts of this. One, you can spam the far left side, where someone would be hugging the wall, actually out on rafters, or on the left side of the ladder. And two, Get Right is focusing a little bit more on the right side. Robin's lucky enough to pick up a kill on the far left rafter spam. A rotator had just come from ramp, went up the ladder, had been upper for no more than 3 seconds, and just got completely blasted. So, again, doing these types of spams is a great way to open up opportunities for your team. I just would highly recommend not doing this every single round, and not making this your #1 source for getting picks. It's a great backup, it's a great way to play more safe. I would highly suggest this as a round opener in the scenario that you're winning rounds as terrorists, you're not doing really aggressive rushes, and you're just getting a couple of picks. Because eventually, if you just got 2 or 3 picks at ramp in a row, that ramp defender is going to know how you've been picking him, and he's going to adjust. So you're not always going to be able to get that pick if you've been hitting picks consistently. Eventually, you're not going to hit it. So this is a great backup way to get picks elsewhere and to get them in other ways. So let's look at a couple different tendencies for CT side. I like how Delpin plays outside because he keeps mini visible to himself, but what he's doing primarily is he's looking for that drop from Red Rock to top of mini garage. Something I noticed that Get Right likes to do a lot, I actually like to do the same exact thing, is if you're playing floor, even if you're playing rafter, what you do second that you get to upper is you break the left vent to give yourself an opportunity to drop down lower later in the round if you need to. You never want to pop the right vent because if the T's get out of squeaky or if one guy jumps out of hut, then he can get down a lot more easily to lower than if he had to run all the way across upper to get to the left vent and go down. But breaking this left vent out early is a really great way to set yourself up for success later in the round if your teammates lose ramp. I've seen it in a couple of rounds. If SK loses ramp, Get Right just flies down the left vent and goes to lower, and he's able to play the bomb site. And in more cases than not, if the T's kill 2 players in ramp room, they're going to assume that lower is free and clear to hit. So if you can fly down that left vent as fast as possible and set up either in the vent just for 1 pick and to go back up, get a pick and then be backside vent, or if you get all the way down behind the box in the bomb site, you're already set up and you already have an advantage over the T's. Something I saw Robin doing a lot was he would throw this flash from underneath ladder when he wanted to retake upper. I've seen a lot of players when they're trying to retake upper on CT just completely waste their flashes when they're at top of ladder, throwing like 2 directly underneath them onto the ground when they're not blinding anybody. You should really be using your flashes in spots where you know they're going to clear out some areas for yourself, and that's exactly what this flash does for you. You can throw it from a spot where you know you won't get spammed if there's still someone countering from top T roof. You can go up with the flash, and it banks and pops late, so the T's don't really have that much time to react to the flash, and once they do see it, it just pops in their face. Alright, thanks for watching. Again, my name is Cake Builder. Please stay tuned for more pro strats, pro playbooks, and pro commentaries at winout.net.